Hello everyone and welcome. It's Chef Jason Morris, your Ace Hardware grill expert, and we're hanging out here today in the backyard of our local Ace Hardware for another one of our Red Vest approved videos. Today's Red Vest approved video is epic. It's fall time. We're starting to ring in a little bit of fall, a little bit of that cool weather, and now a little bit of tailgate season as well. So we've got a tailgate recipe for braised cabbage ready for you. The beauty of this, hey, take it on your Mini-Max Big Green Egg. You can take this with you to the ballpark. You can take this with you to the parking lot. We've got a lot of cool stuff for you as well. And where can you find these recipes? You can go over to acehardware.com. On the tips and advice tab up top, click that in the search engine, type in recipes. It'll bring you to this recipe and a lot more. And be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Spread the word, tell your friends. If you have any questions or comments, or you're looking for something extra on our next YouTube video, leave your notes down below of this video. Let us know what we can do to be helpful and provide you with all the tips, tricks, and tools needed. Talk about a fun food flyover. Look at this stuff. We've got sourdough over here, thanks to our friends at the Grommet. They sent us a Hatch green chili and cheddar sourdough. We're going to use some bacon. We've got fire honey. We've got Lodge cast iron. Look at all the goodies. Caraway seed, black pepper, unsalted chicken broth stock. Why did we go with unsalted? Well, we've got a little bit of salt in the seasoning, a little bit of salt in the beer. We didn't want to over-salt it. We've got red and green cabbage, white onions, shredded carrots, a big juicy Macintosh apple. We've got a little bit of brown sugar, some gorgeous local brats. We're going to use a little bit of our rub-a-dub in there as well. We're going to top it off with a little Avalanche Amber Ale. The cool thing about this braised cabbage recipe, don't save it until Oktoberfest. You can eat this cabbage all year long. Here's what we always do. We always do our food flyover, and we've got all the prep done for you. We've got our bacon cut, our yellow onions sliced, our apples chopped, red and green cabbage shaved fine or medium, depending how big you like your braised cabbage, some shredded carrots, and in the back we've got some unsalted chicken stock. The reason is, with the salt in the bacon and a little bit of salt in the beer, we wanted to make sure we didn't get too salty. We've got some dark brown sugar, a little bit of our rub-a-dub. We're going to do some black pepper, caraway seeds, and garlic, but those are the basic ingredients to make this braised cabbage recipe. Next up, we're going into the Big Green Egg, and we're going to get this thing done. We've got our Big Green Egg hovering around that 450, 475 mark, and that's where we want it, because once we add that Dutch oven in there, that's going to take up a lot of heat as well. It'll cool down a little bit. We'll bring it right back up, but we definitely need it hot so we can render the fat off the bacon and get this thing set. That's where we have the top adjustment set to keep it where we want, and that's our bottom adjustment as well. But as you can see, those two adjustments do a really nice job keeping that thing settled at that 450 mark, and that's what we want. All right, next up, we're making some braised cabbage. We've got our egg preheated. We're going to go ahead and add that Dutch oven in there. We're going to let that Dutch oven heat up as well. Probably going to let that go for a good 5 or 10 minutes. We want that heat to come back to 450. We want to make sure that that cast iron is hot and ready for us to get into this cabbage. Cast iron is all preheated and ready to go, and the first thing we're going to do is add our bacon in there. Hear that sizzle? That's what we want. We definitely want that cast iron to be nice and hot to make sure that that bacon can render off its fat. And then what we'll do is we're just going to give this a stir. We're going to let that render off some fat, and we're actually going to use the bacon fat to saute the onions. And then we're going to add the caraway in there as well, because that heat will help the caraway bloom, so we'll get a lot of extra flavor. We'll go ahead and cook this and get that fat rendered off. The fat has rendered up nicely, and now what we're going to do is add our onions to the mix. So we've got some beautiful yellow onions that we're getting all chopped up. We julienne these guys, get them all ready. We've got the onions added. We're going to add a little bit of our caraway as well. Like I said, we want that caraway to open up just a little bit. And you can add as much or as little as you like on the caraway. And then we're going to add a little bit of our shaved garlic. And now we're going to go ahead and get these onions sauteed and caramelized just a little bit before we get ready to add our cabbage, apples, and carrots. So we'll shut the lid. We'll get that guy rolling. Giving those a chance to do a little caramelizing. They look great. Now what we're going to add is we're going to add our green cabbage. Break that up just a little bit in there. We're going to add our red cabbage next. We want to give these guys a chance to sweat just a little bit, get a little bit of moisture out of them, and then we're going to add our apples. What we love about the apples gives it just the perfect balance of sweetness. All right. We've got all that added. Now what I'm going to do is just give it a quick little stir here. Then we'll reach over and we'll grab our cover. We're going to put our lid on here. We're going to close this, and we're going to give those guys a chance to sweat for just a little bit. Once they do that, we'll add in the rest of our ingredients. We'll give these guys a chance to do their thing here real quick. And now we'll go ahead and add our shredded carrots in there. And that'll do it. Now we'll give those guys a chance to sweat as well. But basically, we're just trying to soften these vegetables up. We'll put our cover back on, we'll let them braise, and then we're going to add some of our liquid. Look at that. We're a couple minutes into it. It's already starting to soften up nicely. We gave it a good stir. We're going to go ahead and add a little bit of our rub-it-up seasoning. And again, with seasonings, as you know from our recipes, add as much or as little as you like, depending on your flavor preference. We're going to add a little bit of our black pepper. We're going to add a little bit of brown sugar, not a lot. We're going to add just enough to get some deep sugar flavor in there. We're going to add a little bit of low sodium or no sodium chicken stock. We like that because there's a little bit of salt in the beer, a little bit of salt in our broth, so we don't want to go crazy. So we added our 2 cups of that. We're going to add as much or as little beer as we want. We're going to add a little bit of amber ale from our friends at Breckenridge Brewery. And now we're going to give this a stir. We're going to let this reduce down just a little bit. Here's my trick. I'm going to go ahead and put the cover back on, but I'm going to vent the front so it has a chance to reduce a little bit of that liquid. When we come back, this stuff should be ready to rock and roll. We'll be ready to grill our sausage and plate our dish. Couple minutes in. We've been cooking this now maybe 5 or 6 minutes. You can see that liquid's starting to get this braise going on. Really, really nice. We gave it a good stir just to get all that flavor going in there. We'll cover it up again. Actually, I'm going to vent the lid just a little bit. We'll let some of that liquid evaporate, but we'll see in probably another 5 minutes. We'll be ready to pull this guy off. This braised cabbage is probably about 6 or 7 minutes away. I took the lid off because what I want to do is evaporate more of that liquid out of there and get this guy down. Now I added my sausage. I'm just using a beautiful local bratwurst here that we get in Denver, Colorado from our friends at Polidori. We're going to heat these guys up. When we come back, we'll be ready to plate this up and show you a good time. That's what we were looking for right there. Cook these sausages. We're going to pull these guys off, let them rest. We don't want them to dry out, but we'll let those sit on our cutting board. And our cabbage is done. That braised cabbage is ready to go. All right, we just keep mixing this up. This is a great sourdough recipe. We got this from our friends at the Grommet. This is their sourdough brew bread. And all we added in here was a little bit of cheddar cheese. We added a cup of beer. And now we've got this beautiful bread that, hey, guess what? Look at that. Right into our cast iron and right onto our big green egg. So now we're using the big green egg to bake. So we used it to braise and make some braised cabbage. We used it to grill some brats. Now we're going to use it to bake off that bread and really turn this again, like I said, ultimate cooking experience. Well, there you have it. We had a blast today cooking on our big green egg, right? We braised some cabbage just in time to serve with some beautiful grilled bratwurst and some Hatch green chili and cheddar bread from our friends at the Grommet and Sourdough. What a blast today, right? You need to find this recipe. Head over to acehardware.com. Go to the Tips and Advice tab up in the search engine. Type in recipes. You'll find this recipe and more. And if you have some comments for us, please share them in the comment section of this YouTube video. Let us know what you'd like to see. Let us know what you'd like to learn. And tell us how we can be helpful making you the legend in the backyard cooking circuit. So I'm Chef Jason Morse, your Ace Hardware grill expert. Thanks so much for joining us. We always have a blast cooking with you. And we'll see you soon.